There's a holiday coming up, and I thought it was Halloween, but apparently it's Festivus, because Greg Capullo is out here airing all his grievances. I guess hell hath no fury like a comic book artist's scorn. I saw on Bleeding Cool that comic book artist Greg Capullo took to Twitter to call out the colorist on his Wolverine Revenge book. He wrote on Twitter, quote, "Heads up, gang. FCO has quit Wolverine before its completion. Deadline pressures aren't for everyone. I'm certain that we'll find a suitable replacement that will give you the highest quality product possible. Ever onward." That's kinda petty. For the record, FCO Placencia is the colorist's full name. He's worked on many recent titles, including Spawn, which Capullo used to draw. FCO probably colored some of Capullo's work, so they might know each other. That makes taking things to Twitter to complain even worse, because Capullo could have just talked to FCO directly. Bleeding Cool doesn't mention the reason why FCO dropped the book, and from what I could find, neither does Capullo. However, Bleeding Cool does mention that the Wolverine Revenge book got delayed earlier in October, weeks before FCO quit the book. According to that article, issue 4 got bumped from November to December, and issue 5 got bumped from December to February. Again, this is before FCO left the book, so the question is, why the delays? Keep in mind that there are two versions of Wolverine Revenge, the standard version and the red band version, which has more blood and guts and additional pages. Bleeding Cool claims it's the red band pages that cause delays, since they're not just additional pages but also changes to the original art. I checked the page count for both versions, and we're talking about a couple of extra pages. This is something that might take a professional artist a few days to finish. It's hard to believe that this is the reason for the delays. There's gotta be something else going on. The most likely scenario would be that the pages for the regular book aren't done, either the writing, penciling, or the inking. And that brings us back to the colorist quitting. Many colorists work with tight deadlines and work on multiple books at the same time. FCO has been around for a while, so he's probably used to the workload. Does it make sense that he quit over deadline pressures to color a couple of extra pages? Not really, but if the core book was late, so that he would have to color a dozen or so pages in short order while possibly working on other books, then it'd make more sense why he'd quit. It comes down to how much work is needed and how soon is the deadline. Capullo didn't tell us, so it just looks like he's throwing FCO under the bus. Capullo caught flack for this and deleted the tweet, but posted a follow-up, which he also deleted. Quote, "I can't stress this enough to would-be comic creators. Unless you're willing to forego friends and hobbies and accept sometimes strenuous deadline pressure, this biz ain't for you. I've been known to work 12 to 16-hour days, 7 days a week for weeks on end. It's not easy. At times, it's unhealthy. Choose wisely." Okay, but did FCO quit the job to hang out with friends and do his hobbies? Capullo can't just put that out there and then bounce. Is that what happened, or is it that the pages FCO needed to color weren't done on time, so when he got them, it put him under a severe crunch? Like I said, he might be coloring other books, which also have deadlines. If the Wolverine pages were late, then maybe FCO couldn't reschedule the time to finish them along with his other work. And if the pages were very late, so that he's past the time he allotted to work on them, maybe he's cutting his losses. If he's not getting the pages on time, what is he supposed to do? I'm not saying this is what happened, but it is one way things could have played out. You've got Jonathan Hickman writing, Capullo on pencils, and Tim Townsend doing the inks. Any delays from any of them would cause delays for FCO. So it could be that FCO is screwing around, but it could also be that one or more of the other guys got delayed, and now FCO has taken the heat for it. Again, I don't know exactly what happened, so I can't point fingers. However, I can say that the workload for colorists is very demanding. They often deal with fast turnarounds, and they get a fraction of the pay compared to the main artist. Anyone who colors or paints can tell you that this is not a quick or easy process, and trying to rush to meet deadlines only makes it worse. The idea that anyone should be working 12 to 16-hour days, 7 days a week for weeks on end is insane. That's not sustainable, it's not healthy, and it's absolutely going to result in burnout. This is part of the reason why so many Japanese creators wind up with health problems. They work similar crazy schedules to get out weekly books, the monthly books are no better, and most of them barely make enough money to survive. This is a creative field. It can't be built on the idea of work yourself to death so your colleagues can take potshots at you when you tap out. I get that it's a competitive industry, but that attitude is ridiculous, especially when you think about how little colorists get paid for their work. Bleeding Cool listed some responses from various industry pros, some agreeing with Capullo, others disagreeing. I'm not going to read all of them, but I will read the one that stood out to me from Patrick Gerard. Quote, "It's a shitty thing to do. Capullo can want a colorist who does 10 pages a day, and when he's hiring and cutting the checks, he can insist on that and live with the results. But there's zero need to trash someone for having a different flow. I love Dan Mora's work when he's doing 2 books a month. I love Alex Ross's work doing less than 1. Either of those approaches may or may not suit certain projects, and sometimes that only becomes clear after the fact. Sometimes people leave a project. There's zero need to trash a collaborator for choosing the workflow that suits what they do. It would cost Capullo nothing in this case to wish the guy the best on other projects and live with whatever results he gets from having someone with different standards." That's my take too. Without knowing the facts of what happened, I think the best approach is to stay professional, wish FCO well, and find another colorist. Taking a cheap shot just looks petty. Greg Capullo wrote a follow-up tweet saying that the team found another colorist, and then gave some anecdote about his Sicilian grandmother cleaning floors until she was 76 while also taking care of her family. That's all well and good, but again, we don't know how much FCO works, so you don't have to attack him for not working himself to the bone. Capullo also says that his wife was on vacation, so that's why he took to Twitter to complain. I guess otherwise he would have complained to her. Maybe that's why she took the vacation. She needed a break from all the petty first world problems. But what do I know? I'm just some guy.